YAHUAH'S breath. Don't fill your mind, temple, with the world, Hashatan's place. Yahuwah created the world. Yahuwah is only one. There is none beside him. He is the only one. The creator, the I am that I am. Everything encompassed in Yahuwah. For Yahuwah is everything. And everything that has a breath has Yahuwah in it. His signature is in everything. He created both good and evil. This picture is a perfect scenario of what people are doing. They know that it stinks, but they still put it in their mind. And they just close their nose off to the stench. So that is what the world is, in a nutshell. Yeshayahu, Isaiah, chapter 3, verses 16 through 26. And Yahuwah says, because the daughters of Sion are haughty and walk with outstretched necks and seductive eyes, walking and mincing as they go, making a jingling with their feet. Therefore Yahuwah shall smite with a scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Sion, and Yahuwah expose their nakedness. In that Yom, Yahuwah takes away the finery of the anklets, and the headbands, and the crescents, the pendants, the bracelets, and the veils, the headdresses, and the leg ornaments, and the sashes, and the perfume bottles, and the amulets, the rings, and the nose jewels, the costly robes, and the cloaks, and the shawls, and the purses, the mirrors, and the fine linen, and the turbans, and the large veils. And it shall be instead of a sweet fragrance, a smell of decay, and instead of a belt, a rope, and instead of well-set hair, baldness, and instead of a festal robe, a girding of sackcloth, and branding instead of loveliness. Your men shall fall by the sword, and your strength in battle. And her gates shall lament and mourn, and she, deserted, shall sit on the ground. Yeshayahu, Isaiah, chapter 3, verses 16 through 26. Yahuwah will correct his children. He loves his children. He doesn't want anybody to go away from him, nor to be unalived because of their things that they have done. But there comes a time that you need to change and not fill your head with the gross iniquities of the world, the pagan holidays, the things like Mardi Gras, which is just pure nonsense and based all on idolatry and these pagan gods that have no life in them, that represent Satan, actually. The word that first came out of my mouth was not iniquity, it was inequity. And what that means is to fill yourself with lack of fairness or justice. And that does fit this world, because this world is unequally yoked. It's got the ones that are with the Father Yahuwah, that are set apart and are different than what the world is. And then you've got the world. The world is what believes in all of that pagan junk. And they believe in the government. They worship the one that's in the White House now, or any White House prior to this. They do things like whatever the government says, like take that SHOT. They do things that are not what the Father Yahuwah wants them to do. Amos chapter 4. Hear this word, you cows of Bashan, who are on the mountain of Shamaron, who are oppressing the poor, who are crushing the needy, who are saying to their masters, bring wine, let us drink. The Master Yahuwah has sworn by his Kadeshness. See, Yomim are coming upon you, when he shall take you away with hooks, and your descendants with fish hooks, and let you go out at the breakers, each Asha before her, and you shall be cast out toward Harmon, declares Yahuwah. Come to Bethel and transgress, to Gilgal, increase transgression, and bring your slaughterings every morning, your tithes every 3 Yomim, and burn an offering of thanksgiving with leaven. Proclaim voluntary offerings loudly, for you have loved this, you children of Yasharal, declares the Master Yahuwah. And I also gave you cleanness of teeth in all your cities, and lack of bread in all your places. But you did not turn back to me, declares Yahuwah, and I also withheld rain from you 3 months before the harvest. Then I would send rain on one city, and on another city I would not send rain. One part was rained upon, and where it did not rain, the part would dry up. Then 2 or 3 cities would wander to another city to drink water. But they were not satisfied. But you did not turn back to me, declares Yahuwah. I have smitten you with blight and with mildew. The creeping locust devoured your many gardens, and your vineyards, and your fig trees, and your olive trees, but you did not turn back to me, declares Yahuwah. I have sent among you a plague in the way of Mitzrayim. I have slain your young men with a sword, along with your captured horses, and I made the stench of your camps come up into your nostrils. But you did not turn back to me, declares Yahuwah. I have overthrown some of you, as Yahuwah overthrew Sodom and Amorah, and you were like a burning stick plucked from the burning. But you did not turn back to me, declares Yahuwah. Therefore I am doing this to you, Yasharal, and because I do this to you, prepare to meet your Yahuwah, Yasharal. For look, he who forms mountains and creates the wind, and who declares to man what his thought is, and makes the morning darkness, and who treads the high places of the Eretz. Yahuwah Elohim Sabaoth is his name. Amos chapter 4. The verse that said one part was rained upon where it did not rain, the part would dry up. Can you take a guess at what that is? We're going to come up into a season that there will no be scriptures to be able to be read. That is going to be a famine in this world. They're going to take it away from us. They're going to probably burn it, or however that they do it, they're going to take it away from us. So Get it now. Have it in your heart. Read it every day. And your heart will remember it. And then when it comes time, the Father Yahuwah will bring that to your remembrance. And you won't be thirsty or hungry for the word. That's what a famine is also. It's not just a famine of food. For the scripture feeds your soul. And then that verse, then 2 or 3 cities would wander to another city to drink water, but they were not satisfied. But you did not turn back to me, declares Yahuwah. So that is also talking about a famine. That the weak ones, the ones that didn't have it, wandered over to another city. So a whole city, well, that city's representing people, wandered over to another city. So there was 2 or 3 cities that would wander to another city to drink water. And that drinking of the water was the living water of the word of the Father Yahuwah. And again, I cannot stress it enough. There will be a time and a place that there will be no water, no scripture that you can get. That's your living water. That's the food for your soul. That's the everything that you need. And that is the word of the Father Yahuwah. You know, the stench of the world is also about lack of belief. That's what it is also. Let's not forget the stench of the transgressions that we have done, because that is very great. He even let them smell their own stench, and they still did not turn back. Yahuchanan, John, chapter 11, 23 to 45. Yahusha said to her, your brother shall rise again. Martha said to him, I know that he shall rise again in the resurrection of the last Yom. Yahusha said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me, though he dies, he shall live. And everyone that is living and believing in me shall never die at all. Do you believe this? She said to him, yes, Master, I believe that you are the Mashiach, the Son of Yahuwah, who is coming into the world. And having said this, she went away and called her sister Miriam secretly, saying, the teacher is here and calls you. When she heard, she rose up quickly and came to him. And Yahusha had not yet come into the village, but was in the place where Martha met him. Therefore the Yahudim who were with her in the house and were comforting her, when they saw that Miriam rose up quickly and went out, followed her, saying, she is going to the tomb to weep there. Miriam, therefore, when she came where Yahusha was and saw him, she fell down at his feet, saying to him, Master, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. Yahusha, therefore, when he saw her weeping, and the Yahudim who came with her weeping, he groaned in the Ruach, and was troubled, and said, where have you laid him? They said to him, Master, come and see. Yahusha wept. The Yahudim therefore said, see how he loved him? And some of them said, was this one who opened the eyes of the blind not also able to prevent this one from dying? Yahusha therefore, again groaning in himself, came to the tomb. Now it was a cave, and a stone lay against it. Yahusha said, "Take away the stone." Martha, the sister of him who had died, said to him, "Master, already he smells, for it is for Yomim." Yahusha said to her, "Did I not say to you that if you believe, you shall see the esteem of Yahuwah?" So they took away the stone where the dead man was laid. And Yahusha lifted up his eyes and said, "Father, I thank you that you have heard me, and I know that you always hear me. But because of the crowd standing by, I said this, in order that they believe that you sent me." And when he had said this, he cried with a loud voice, "Alazar, come out!" And he who died came out, bound feet and hands with wrappings, and his face was wrapped with a cloth. Yahusha said to them, "Loosen him and let him go." Therefore many of the Yahudim who had come to Miriam and had seen what Yahusha did believed in him. Yahuchanan, John, chapter 11, verses 23 till 45. Again I say this, he stank. But because Yahusha believed, he rose. I think that's a lot to be said right there. So the bottom line is to fill your mind with stench is not a good thing, because you're not believing in what Yahusha did. Yahuwah was with Yahusha and in Yahusha. He was 100% divine and 100% human. The only one that ever walked the earth like that. Yahuwah created him on day one, his body of light, and the light was good. You remember that verse? That was Yahusha. And that was the way that we could see Yahuwah, was through this man named Yahusha that had Yahuwah in him. He was the body. He was the lamb. He was the blood that had to unalive for us. But know this, that blood covered a multitude of sins. But it does not mean once saved is always saved. You constantly have to work on yourself. You really do. Till you become one with Yahuwah. And Yahuwah takes over your body. And Yahuwah will not let you sin and not let you go away from him at all. And that's when you know that you have Yahuwah and you have the Ruach HaKodesh. And he protects you just like he shielded the blood of Yahusha from the sins of the world, because he had to unalive for the sins of the world. So, as it says, how can Beelzebub cast out Beelzebub. You can't. So his blood was sealed from the original sin, which was in Mary's blood from the beginning. And that was done by the Ruach HaKodesh in Yahusha. And that is why his blood was pure, clean, pristine. And he overcame Satan. He overcame original transgression. And he overcame the world and was able to be unalived as the Lamb and be the sacrifice, the only perfect sacrifice ever. Shalom.